All right, folks, this is Harris Sultan, and I've got a pretty strange video for you. This doesn't happen very often. You don't usually get the chance to agree with a Muslim Imam. It's as rare as hen's teeth. Now, I've found an American Imam who's basically saying which is the exact opposite of what the Muslim Brotherhood has been trying to achieve for the past 20 years. Now, is it because the Trump administration has recently banned the Muslim Brotherhood and they know that the cover is blown, some may as well switch sides? Or he could be just a simply fair-minded Muslim. I don't know what's behind that. But what's important is that this Imam is basically agreeing with us that we don't want any Sharia in the USA or Britain or Australia or any of these Western countries. Muslims should drop the idea of taking over Western democracies. Let me play you that video. Look at this guy. Now, even Amy Mack is saying, safety alert. Will the Ummah let this man keep talking? Because what he's saying, even he knows that what he's saying is unprecedented. I worry for his safety. For one insane, fleeting moment, even Amy Mack is actually agreeing with a religious Islamic scholar. He's not some lipstick Muslim. But before we get into this Imam's clip, a quick one. A lot of you ask me, how do you measure where the public is leaning? Not vibes, not hashtags, just sentiment. That's why I've been using Kalshi. Kalshi is a regulated prediction market where you can trade on the outcome of real-world events. Politics, the economy, even sports. You're basically trading yes and no contracts, kind of like buying and selling stocks. And the price moves with news and public opinion. And the key thing is, this is the only place you can trade on these real-world events legally in all 50 states. So if you're in the US, it's actually available to you. The markets I personally check are the ones that match reality. Elections, big political calls, Bitcoin price, Fed rate cuts, that sort of stuff. If the crowd starts shifting, you can literally see it in the odds. If you want to try it, use my link, kalshi.com/r/Sultan and use code Sultan. New users get free $20 when you deposit $100. Now let's get back to this Imam because what he says, it ain't normal. Okay, so let's just play his video and let's see what he has to say.
Look, I'm going to be very controversial here. Okay, I personally believe I'm aligned with the white supremacists on this one, and the Islamophobes.
I'm an Islamophobe.
No,
You're joking, or is it?
I'm serious.
Okay.
I think Muslims should go back home.
Yeah.
All right. All right.
I'm serious. Like, let me tell you something. Muslims don't necessarily need to be involved in politics in the West.
Yes.
Okay. Number one, they're seen by I don't know if it's majority or not, but a good sizable chunk of America and Europe and maybe Canada
and in Australia,
that they don't want Muslims to come and basically impact their country or change some of the stuff about their country or become, let's say, political leaders in their country, right?
Okay. Absolutely. Just like Muslims don't want foreigners to go to Muslim countries and tell them how to run their countries. It's not racist. It's not bigoted. It's nothing crazy. There's nothing wrong with that. I often say that the white countries are the least racist countries in the world. Name me a single non-white country that has given other races, people of other cultures, an equal seat at the table. Name me one. Oh yeah, we all love those Instagram reels in Dubai and Saudi Arabia and in the Middle East, but no, those Middle Eastern countries, they don't give you their citizenships. I have enormous respect for Japan and South Korea. They're amazingly prosperous, non-Western, Eastern countries, but even they don't give you an equal seat at the table. It's only the white countries, yet they get accused of being the most racist. So that only shows you that you just can't please people. You can't be a crowd pleaser. It just doesn't work.
Even if they don't change anything,
Okay.
they don't like it that basically Muslims become political leaders. I resonate with that from a perspective that, look, if our basic rights are safeguarded, and sadly they're not.
Oh.
If they were safeguarded, we don't have to really get involved in politics as much.
But isn't that just limiting us, like in the West? Meaning, like,
well, it looks like it. Yeah, look, it is limiting. 100% say, yeah, it is limiting. But let me explain. Like, what is our role as Muslims here in the West? There's two opinions between the Muslims on this, between the Muslim community leaders. The vast majority says that we're here, we need to impact America, we need to be part of America, we need to assimilate and integrate and be part of the social fabric of America and become powerful, just like maybe other minorities are powerful. We need to be powerful. And
Yeah.
there's a minority, maybe I'm one of them, probably maybe the only voice basically that really is speaking like this,
Okay.
is that no, I think we should respect the majority. The majority doesn't feel, the majority doesn't want the Muslims to take these important positions. They want these positions for themselves.
It's not that. Even he's not even steel manning their position. The majority had no problem in electing even Muslims as their counselors in America. In Britain, we've got, I think, 20 or 25 Muslim MPs. A lot of them have actually been voted in by white Britons. As I said, these white countries are the least racist countries. If you integrate and assimilate and act like them, then they don't have this racial lens. They forget about this. Yeah, there will always be some racists who would always look at you with suspicion, but that's not the case with the majority. They embrace you. They've embraced everyone. People have gone into Western countries from all over the world, and people who have assimilated have been rewarded with political positions, with elevated status in society, entrepreneurship, everything. But Muslims, they always say that, hey, I'm a Muslim first. They always bring in their Islam in the social fabric of the West.
Don't say I'm British first. You're not British. You're Muslim first. That's your identity. Does that make sense? So many people, they say, oh, where are you from? Or brother, what are you? No, me, I'm British. Me, I'm Canadian. Subhanallah. As if Canadian is going to help you when you go in your grave. Or I am American. Or I'm Somali. Or I am Afghani. No, you are Muslim. That's who you are.
That's where people are now saying, do you want to legitimize child marriage? Do you want to legitimize cousin marriage? You don't have a problem with FGM? You don't have a problem with all these sorts of tribal, primitive, barbaric Islamic practices? Sorry, maybe you shouldn't get a seat at the table. That's the reason why the majority doesn't want them. So don't say that they want to keep these positions to themselves. Maybe now they're starting to think like that because they're learning that, well, we gave them a chance. We did. We tried our best. We gave them an equal seat at the table, but, that snake story.
Look, we just have to respect that this is their country. This is their home.
Okay.
Like, I'm not going to go into other people's homes and then start basically saying, look, I'm gonna say what are you gonna do in your living room and your kitchen and you're just moving tables and chairs. I'm gonna come in like a nice guest and respect the home of the host that is inviting me to his house. We need to understand as Muslims, we have a home.
Go there. Go back.
And this is the problem. The problem is not necessarily like politics or not. Sometimes the act is halal, but see, there's a repercussions to the act. Okay. Irrespective of if being in mayor is halal or haram, just put that aside for a second. Let's assume it's okay. I'm saying there's an impact. There's a strategic, problem here. Do we want to continue to live in America, Canada, and Europe for the next 300, 400 years, forever? Or should we go back home? Like, it's a real question that we have to wrestle with. And the Islamophobes and the populist movement, political movements in both Europe and America are screaming for the last 10, 15 years, very loud and clear, that they don't want us there. So we should respect that and say, look, we're just here guests. And to be honest, we don't need to even be involved in politics. But as long as our rights are respected, this is where basically the issue is. So I'm not 100%.
I think initially, early on, he said, no, our rights are not fully respected or something. Bro, what do you want? You've been allowed to marry your cousins in your third world countries and bring them to Britain and America for years, and nobody said anything. You've been given welfare payments despite knowing. Let me show you this. I had this video where some Muslim man was getting a free house for his 2 wives and 8 children. And he was saying that he wants to have 2 more wives. Okay? Nobody stopped them. So anyway, I can't find that video, but the West has been more than generous in bending over backwards to accommodate you. So that's a totally unwarranted claim that, they've been asking us to go back. No, they actually hadn't been. People like me had to educate Westerners that, hey, these guys, they will never integrate. Their moral framework is completely antithetical to Western value system. I'm actually very glad. I take immense pride in knowing that I played a tiny role in this mass awakening moment.
aligned. I
You
would like
lean
to be aligned
towards-
fully with the Islamophobia.
That's crazy.
It's a joke, but at the end of the day, it's their stance. If both stances are equal, doesn't mean that basically I'm aligned in way or shape with their views. But I'm just saying I respect. Look, if there's people who are not, let's say, if there's people who are not supremacists,
Mhm.
they're just white Americans,
Mhm.
and they're the majority.
Mhm.
They say, look, we want to keep America white.
Mhm.
See, these people don't understand. Even that's not the claim. I know Nick Fionte's and the narrative is becoming more popular. And I actually do think that most of these white countries should majority remain white, because if white people are gone, then we're going to have civil wars, bad governance, no rule of law. I'm sorry. I'm not willing to run that risk. But white people are so good in their hearts that they don't even look at it like that. The only reason why they're retaliating and responding and waking up is because they are seeing their society go from really good to really bad. That's why they're like, oh, hang on a second, what's going on? And then we realize that, oops, some cultures, some backward primitive cultures are coming in, and we've allowed them to come in and spread their tentacles. And that's why our quality of life, our social fabric is being ripped into shreds. That's the reason why people are now seeing it interchangeably with white. I actually think that is Western values. If people from Eastern Europe came in, whom Western Europeans have historically had a problem with, they would be okay because they will integrate and assimilate into mainstream white American culture. That's the reason why. But anyway, I think America, Britain, Australia, these countries should remain white.
Keep America, let's say, liberal and a capitalistic nation.
Hmm.
And Islam is contradictory to our values. And maybe they might say, look, if you guys want to stay here as guests and just don't like try to change anything about our country, we're fine. And this is the position I take.
That ship has sailed now. In fact, that ship has got a big hole in it now, and it's sinking fast because they have seen the true colors of these Muslims who say, oh, we want Sharia. No, you ain't getting Sharia. You're being shipped back.
While the Muslimin are living in the West, we should respect those host countries. Never try to change anything about it as long as our basic rights are protected. Our rights are protected. And then also basically try to have a vision to go back home. We have a home. I don't care if you're fourth generation American, okay? I sometimes ask some Muslims, where are you from? He's like, well, I'm from America.
I'm born and raised. Yeah.
Born and raised in America. I'm from like, let's say, Texas. I'm from Dallas. I'm like, yeah, but where are your parents from? Pakistan. I'm like, bro, just say it as it is. You're from Pakistan. Okay? You look Pakistani, even though you might, whatever, speak perfect English. And do you really want to stay in a country that your values, look, the non-Muslims, the non-Muslim Americans, understand that your values contradict their values.
Well, why? Why can't we just assimilate? Why can't we fit in? Why can't we make this our home?
Because then we have to lose our values. It's fine.
Yeah.
Because
I
you have
can't
to
be Muslim in
assimilate.
America?
No.
Why?
Well, not Muslim in America.
That's what assimilation means. If you assimilate into American society, then you'll have to lose your values. You'll have to find cousin marriage just as repulsive as an ordinary American finds it. You must find Prophet Muhammad's marriage to 9-year-old Aisha just as repulsive as every other non-Muslim finds it. You have to change your entire value system. I am a perfect example of that. There are certain things in Islam that I find absolutely repulsive. And once I do that, then I realize that, oh, that's actually because I am drawing my morality from a Western frame of reference. That's why I'm finding FGM and child marriage and cousin marriage, all of these things repulsive. I prefer secular liberal values. I like freedom of religion. I like free speech. I think religion should be mocked and criticized. How can this Muslim assimilate into American society when he can't even grasp the concept of free speech, which means that he should be perfectly okay with someone insulting his religion? He doesn't have to accept it because, white Americans have been tolerating the critique of Christianity. Of course, they don't like it, but they tolerate it. Can these Muslims do it? No, they can't. They're asking for blasphemy laws in Britain. I'm sure they'll be asking for blasphemy laws in America too, but America is a totally different beast. That's not going to happen. But that's why, brother, you can't assimilate into American society because or as the Imam said, you'll have to lose your values.
Something like that. There's many Muslims in America. You can't be Muslim American for sure.
Okay.
That's not the question. The issue is the issue of values.
Okay.
You want to sit here. Look, first of all, do they want you here in the first place? Number two, is the majority going to push you to lose your values?
Yeah.
Okay.
Meaning 40 years from now, you're going to have great grandchildren. Those will never be Muslim.
Like you're talking to a lot of young people, a lot of Gen Zs, and who really feel like they were, they belong here. This is my home. Yes, my parents came from Lebanon, but like
I agree. Look, like I was raised here myself.
Yeah.
And to be honest, basically, if you ask me where's home, from the emotional sense and from like the familiarity, like literally from from emotional psychological sense, this is my home, and I'm comfortable here, not in terms of life comfort. Like I like it here.
Yeah,
You know
the culture, the
yeah,
familiarity.
like just subhanAllah, just the human connection, the attachment. There's attachment, right? But see, at the end of the day, Allah subhanahu created us for a purpose. The most important thing for us is not the emotional attachment to a geographic location. The most important thing is to live by the values that we believe in. Otherwise, what does our belief means? Like if we believe in Islam, but we don't really like embody its values.
I actually like this guy. He's being logically consistent. Yes, if you believe that you should be more concerned about your afterlife, and if that's your priority, you shouldn't be emotionally attached to a geographical location or, nice, comfortable life in America. You should go and live in Afghanistan. I guess there's a spectrum. If you want to live like a true Muslim, you should go to Afghanistan. But if you want a comfortable, cushy life, then maybe, you can move to Dubai.
We don't live in a society that embodies its values. Then what's the use of Islam? Just the prayers and the fasting. And this is what we're against. What we're against is to reduce the great Islamic system of life that God have revealed to humanity for the sake of for the sake of human societies to live in peace and in justice, to just few rituals where Muslims can live in any non-Islamic society. No, I think if the Islamophobes have a problem with us, well, we should have had a problem with ourselves being here in the first place.
Yes.
Now, I'm not saying these people should go just leave right now or whatever. We should have a nice, way to go back home, where also back home becomes equally. Like, look, nobody's going to go back home to the Muslim world, right? And we should call it home all the time, whether we're born here or not, whether we're converts from here or not. Home is back in the Muslim world. Even if you're blonde-eyed convert, home is over there, not here.
That's an odd thing to say.
Well, this is what Allah says.
SubhanAllah, but Islam didn't come to replace culture, right? It came to filter, and you can still be an American Muslim. So when you say we're watering it down, what are the values specifically that you're talking about that makes us attached to the East?
Well, let's take, for example, simple things. Pornography is rampant, right? Nakedness is everywhere. Haram relationships everywhere.
But why can't we change these things?
But because it's not our society. This is why the Americans are getting angry at Muslims, because they want to change things. We need to stop trying to change their stuff.
We want OnlyFans. We want a porn culture. Whatever. But we don't want to put women in bin bags, okay? There is a huge difference between OnlyFans and pornography and bin bags that Muslims want to put women in, okay? These are moderately secular liberal democracies. Yes, it can have some side effects that not everyone is happy about. But, those are some flaws in Western society, because I guess when you prefer individual freedoms, when you value individuality, then these things can happen. Bonnie blues can spring out. But that doesn't mean that we should start putting women in bin bags and start stoning adulterers. That's what you want. That's what your religion wants. Your religion wants you to marry off your young girls when they're 9 or 10. As soon as they have their first period, marry them off. We can never allow that in a free, liberal Western society.
Their place, their society, and just go change ours. The reason we left ours is because we don't like certain things about it. We don't like basically the political stability and security of those countries. We don't like the economic prosperity of those countries. We don't like the educational advancement, the scientific advancement of those countries. We don't like the business environment.
The lack thereof.
These countries. We don't like the legal system of these countries. We don't like the crime rates of these countries. We don't like many things about these countries. We come here because we want to live in a higher quality of life society, and then want to change it based upon our values. But they get offended. But again, so that's why the real Muslims who understand the world and politics and strategy and the Quran and the Sunnah will always tell you, look, Muslims should live in an Islamic environment.
Good man, actually. Good man. He's actually right. I hope he remains safe and the Muslim Brotherhood doesn't get him, because this is the exact opposite of what the Muslim Brotherhood has been trying to achieve for the past 15, 20 years. The whole charter of the Muslim Brotherhood and their modus operandi is to infiltrate Western institutions, put in our people in those institutes, and exploit the weaknesses and systems and processes of Western institutes, and then somehow gain more political power and leverage. That's it. That's Muslim Brotherhood in a nutshell. They're not violent by any means. They don't believe in carrying out terrorist attacks. And that's why they've been a lot sneakier and a lot more difficult to handle. But this guy is saying the opposite, which is actually a fair statement. That's what we've been saying. If you don't like it, go back. The reason why your countries are shitholes is because of your values, which includes subjugating 50% of your population and putting them in bin bags. But they will never understand that. They will never get that. You can never have the kind of GDP per capita in your Muslim countries, the kind that we have in Western countries, thanks to women empowerment, for example. That's just one example, okay? Another example, in the West, we prefer individuality. You can express yourselves. You can explore your artistic side. You can make music. You can make movies. None of these things are allowed in Muslim countries. I know some Muslim countries allow that, but they're actually against Islamic teaching. Islam does not allow any of that. So these guys who want to live in a proper Muslim country, in a Muslim society with Muslim values, by the way, other than Afghanistan, there's no such country. I mean, if you want to go to Dubai, Dubai is a hub of Instagram models, of porn stars. All these online prostitutes, they go to Dubai to extend their business. But you want to go there? So there is no such thing as the true Muslim society. ISIS was pretty close to Muhammad's Islamic society. And in today's world, Taliban's Afghanistan is the closest you can get to a true Islamic society. But let me break it to you, my dear Muslims. Afghanistan will never become a developed country because of the way it treats women, because of the way it treats individuals. It just can't. It's a failed system. That's why these Muslims will never leave. They might sell their house in Texas or Florida and go to the UAE, but the UAE is barely a Muslim country. But hey, look, I'm not complaining. You want to go? Bye-bye. Anyway, that's it. Until next time.